I'm Bishi, and tonight we are playing more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, or perhaps Great Grace Attorney Chronicles. One of the two, maybe. I also wanted to show off my Gudetama shirt. That's mostly why I'm right here and not in the game already. I just wanted to show off my Gudetama. I haven't worn this on stream yet. It just says weekends, which the weekend is soon upon us. So I think it's very fitting. Gudetama seems like such a new character to me still, but he is like 10 years old. I thought he was older than that. For some reason, I feel like Gudetama is a prehistoric creature that has always existed long before humans. I thought he was around a lot longer than that. Interesting. I love Gudetama though. I feel called out by being pushed onto O'Malley's stream because I'm a big fan of his work. I guess it knows. I get a little scared sometimes by how much different apps know. Like, I feel like when I talk about something out loud, TikTok will show it to me. Or I'll get an ad for it. And I know, like, I feel like some people have talked about that, where it's not that they're, like, listening to you with a microphone, but, like, it's based on your, like, shopping stuff, things that you click on, stuff like that, just online, and all the different apps and websites share information, so they'll know if you Googled something on another app or something, but even that's kind of scary. Yeah, I think it's more about, like, what you search, purchase, post, etc. Yeah, exactly. So, like, they're listening, but I would think they're not literally, like, tuning in, like, what did they just say about blueberry muffins? Alright, boys. Roll the Little Debbie's clip. Roll the Little Debbie's ad right now. This will be my theme song. Let's play Ace Attorney. Let's go. Let's do it. Unsubs. We are going to return to episode 3. We're in case 3 of Resolve. We are at part 3 of episode 3 of the second game of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We just completed a second day of investigation, so this is day 2 of the trial. So we're probably going to see the little German boy again. I'm very excited to do my little German child accent. Very specific. I have notes. I will be reading these notes in a moment of what happened last time, because a lot happened. I also got stuck for, I think, literally an hour until Ruuuvo helped me. I think I was actually stuck for an hour, and I didn't cut it out of the YouTube video. It's not live yet, but it's gonna be uploaded soon. I didn't cut it out. I was like, well, I could go through this whole hour and just keep, like, some important bits here and there, but I was like, no, the people have to know what I went through. So I just left it in. I think I just didn't feel like editing it. I was like, I'll just leave it. Me and Ruuuvo gotta watch the Weird Al movie. And get a little weird. Alright, let's get weird in a different way. Let's get into it, and then I'll read over my notes. 24th October, 9 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Something that I was watching earlier this week was like Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. They had a new season pop up, so I started watching it. And like the first episode we watched was actually about Jack the Ripper. And it's morbid, but it made me want to play Ace Attorney Chronicles. Because it's, you know, it was in the UK, and it just was like a detective mystery, and it made me think of the game. Okay, I'll just start from the bottom. We found Drebber in his workshop and set up a time bomb. Oh, he set up a time bomb and hid inside a safe. He was hiding the head of the wax figure in the hot air balloon model. It has a metal helmet on it with a lock that we can't open to hide the identity of the killer named the Professor. Apparently he saw the killer come back to life and come out of the grave, but then his body was still in the grave, so we're confused about that. There was a piece of glass found in the waxwork of the professor, which could be from the Crystal Tower, so I put maybe it was used in the experiment, and maybe Asmon was the professor murderer. Okay. These are all over the place. There was a trapdoor on the bottom of the experiment. That's important. Asmon from the stage is the same Asmon that fell into the tower. They think so because of fingerprints. Okay. So that I can do the thing. Okay. Alright. I think I get the gist of what happened last time. Okay. Alright. Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even I, with nothing left to... Good morning, my dear fellows. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're here. Oh, last time we also found out that our dearly departed friend is probably alive and has amnesia. Kazuma. We also learned about that. Why, naturally. A true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later then. That's it. He just says hi. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today. Yes, do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again. Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but My dear fellows, I must interject! Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I think I forgot to change the volume. Okay, sorry. It was way too quiet. There we go. That was from when I was playing Shim. Alright. Fixed it. Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes. What's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? Be cast in my direction, Sorry? I don't follow. Must I spell it out? I, the great Herlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation, arose at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree. Well, if I must agree, then... As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me, and kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred. Oh my, Iris has been busy. Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. Ah, I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist. One who relishes the infinite possibilities of blending tea. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory. Sorry to cut in. Oh. Oh, Inspector Gregson. Good morning. Beat up by a 12-year-old. Beat up by a 10-year-old. Gregson, my dear fellow, why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh? Dear me. Are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor? What? What? I don't know! Poor Professor. Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for. What paperwork? Ah, I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful. You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through to get this brought out of the archives. It's the professor's autopsy report. That mass murderers? Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy? He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps. I'm struggling tonight. And he was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in here. Yeah, warning, British. Really bad British. The autopsy report of the mass murderer known as the Professor, who was tried and found guilty by a closed trial 10 years ago. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Yes, much obliged, Gregson. Us slowly lot at the yard are just doing what we can. In the shadow of the great detective shows, of course. Okay, bye. Okay. Well, let's look at that. Let's look at it. Condemned prisoner, redacted for confidentiality. Pseudonym, the Professor. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. Courtney Stevens. Okay. Interesting. I guess I'll write that down. Sometimes if I write it down in my notes, I'll be more likely to remember it, or I'll see it while I'm looking for other stuff and be like, oh, that's a clue, you know. Iris seems like 8 at most. She is truly, baby. Time has passed, hasn't it? She was 10 in the first game. Oh, really? Would she be 2 whole years older, though? I think it's at least been almost a year since the first game, so maybe 11. Okay. But like, you know, around that age, 10 to 12, a baby. Okay. Well then, Professor Harebrain, this is it. Today we're going to lay all this to rest at last. I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I suppose he'll be in there today, will he? Drebber. Yes. We expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness. I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much. Counsel and defendant. Trial's about to resume. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. This is it then. The final chapter. Funny. My heart's racing a little. I've not felt this before, actually. This strange foreboding. As if something's going to happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. October, 9:30 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. I wonder what that something could be. Oh, the apprentice is here today. Kazuma! Kazuma, remember us! Remember us. Remember me. Oh, that movie makes me cry. I never learned how to take effective notes in high school. When I take notes for stuff, I never understand them later. I didn't get good at taking notes until college, honestly. Like, they tried to teach us how to do note-taking in high school. I remember there was, like, I don't even know which class, probably English, but there was some classes that literally, like, had us sit down and try to learn how to take notes. And the way that they were teaching us just did not mesh with me at all. I did not like it, and I ended up, I mean, I would take notes in high school, but they were just kind of just, I don't know. What truly saved me in college was I would take good notes, and I would do shorthand that I could understand, and I would remember what it meant later. And then I would put all of those into, like, Quizlet. And then I would do flashcards digitally. And that's how I did really well in college. Quizlet basically saved me. And Quizlet was around in high school, but like I wasn't very good at like systematically taking notes and putting them into that and actually studying. I also had to be really good at studying in college. So high school, just like I was just kind of coasting and got through it. I hated it. College is more where I flourished like academically and felt like I was actually capable and smart. And so I did pretty well. But yeah. No one really taught me. I just kind of, I don't know. I think you just gotta go for it. I think it helped too is that like the subjects I took in college were more interesting than high school. I just didn't like high school. Welcome in, Violet. Oh, we just do type notes at my college. Yeah, that helps too, honestly. Even then I would do shorthand too. Sometimes I type notes, and then some professors are really weird about computers in the classroom and they don't let you. So I hate when they do that, because it's like, if someone's really used to taking notes on their laptop, they're gonna do terribly when they try to just write it by hand. You know what I mean? And typing sometimes can be way faster too. And then it's really easy to just copy paste it into like a digital note card thing like Quizlet too. So it was a lot easier, but yeah, I did a mix of both because some professors were specific about not having stuff. Yeah. It was very annoying. Wait, Kazuma's alive? Okay, well, it's not like 100% confirmed, but they're basically saying that the apprentice of Van Zeeks is Kazuma, and he's gonna be in the little cloak in a second here, you'll see. And he somehow has amnesia, which he did have a skull injury, but we thought he died from it. But it looks like him from like just the little bit of his face you can see. And basically Susato determined, no, that's definitely him. That's him. So it is him, but like the game hasn't been like, oh my god, it's 100% Kazuma, you know. We haven't even seen his full face yet, so. But it's totally him, yeah. I saw Coco for the first time in a movie theater, and I cried so hard the woman next to me got concerned. Oh no. Oh gosh. I did not watch Coco in the theater. I'm kind of glad I did it, because that would have been me too. It made me cry so bad. I think the movie that I cried the hardest to, like in the theater, was Your Name. But we were in a row with like all our friends, and we were all sobbing. Just like a bunch of sniffles and sobs. Yeah, that's the hardest I've cried in a theater, but not the hardest I've cried at a movie. College forced me to be good at notes. Yeah. My notes were okay, but handwriting on the other hand sucked. Yeah, my handwriting is crap. Yeah. I'm like the only one that can understand it. I would feel bad anytime someone was like, hey, can I borrow your notes, you know, to study too? And I'd be like, yeah, if you could read them. And I remember one time, someone handed them back like after like a couple minutes of looking at them. They're like, yeah. Like, yeah, there's no way I can read this. Did I get better at handwriting after that? No. Especially college notes, when I'm like doing shorthand and writing as fast as I can because the professors are going through all of the freaking PowerPoints at the speed of light. Yeah, I'm not gonna write nice. You kidding me? There's some people that write really nice, just that's how they write and they can't help it, that they can't write quickly. So I'd rather be able to write really quickly and get everything down and it doesn't look pretty. I'm fine with it. It's fine. But yeah, there's also type notes, which fixes that. Which is why more professors should let you have your laptop in class. Note-taking in college was so much easier to understand compared to notes in high school. Yeah, I don't know. It's just... I think we're also, like... You're kind of, like, allowed to do what you want, and sometimes in high school they forced you to take notes a certain way, which would just throw you off. It was weird. Microsoft Word is not fun, though. Can't do nice diagrams. I forget what I would take notes on. It probably was Word. I'm a faster typist than I am at writing by hand. It's definitely Kazuma. Like, I don't have any prior knowledge of this game, but it's obviously... Like, it's him! There just hasn't been this big, like, reunite reuniting scene because he doesn't remember them. Your Name was so good, though the end had me screaming. I never cared so much about a het couple. It's really transcending lines here. Yeah. Oh, I really love my grandfather, so Coco hit me where it hurt. I'm so sorry. Me, my sister, and 6 other cousins went to watch Coco opening night, and we spent the whole movie being like, oh my god, that's exactly like Abuela, and it was super fun, and then we all bawled our eyes out. Yep. Yep. Last time I cried at a Barbie- at a movie- sorry. Last time I cried at a movie was Barbie. Oh yeah, Barbie made me cry too. Oh yeah. Actually, I think I was sobbing for that too, honestly. I remember one time in college, the professor wrote some announcement on the corner of the whiteboard at the beginning of class. He left the note there as he began lecture, and a while into it, he was continuing to write on the board when he got close to the announcement note, and he just paused for a moment and reminded us about the announcement. It was so ADHD. We don't really do notes for my program since I'm in computer programming, but that means we have to type code at the speed of light or handwrite. Oh dear god. I'm so sorry. I wish you all the luck in your programming classes, though. Okay. Ugh. Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the public hearing of Albert Harebrain, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed? Yeah, there he is. The prosecution is ready, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. As promised, Lord Van Zeeks has his apprentice with him. His apprentice with memory loss. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks? Yes, my lord. There appears to be someone standing at your side. Ah, yes. My apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. Oh, that's Kazuma. He knows how to use it. Oh, look at that, look at that. Oh my god. He knows how to use a sword. I therefore instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial. And the smooth running of liquid refreshments, by the look of it. The way he holds himself, the way he moves, it couldn't be anyone else. But he's still suffering from amnesia, so there's really nothing we can do at the moment. I know, but... oh, this is so very hard. Yeah, imagine one of your close friends dying, and then you just see them alive, and they don't remember you? It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands of the court made yesterday. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question. Yes, my lord. I intend to call him as a witness shortly. Very good. Very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this courtroom today, are you ready and willing to proceed? Are you ready? Of course, my lord. I'm sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty. I do so despise deception and deceit. I find it so very wearing. To take a man's life with a conjuring trick, which is against the magician's code, not to mention the law. Any fake scientist should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me.
We have to listen to what's said on both sides, the fence, and then settle on one. That's it, isn't it? That's it, isn't it?
Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all.
I think I gave them all like different voices from last time, I swear.
If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Van Zeeks.
Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read to the court. A report for the court! Yesterday, at the Great Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case, the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion affected by an unknown person or persons.
It was what? An explosion? This is an outrage!
Oh, the girl with the corn is a little girl. A child. I don't think a child should be on the jury, but 1800s Britain, I guess.
Yes, I heard this grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithers and the wreckage reduced to ashes in the flames.
I have here a photographic print of the scene, taken in the wake of the explosion. It shows what little remains of the machine.
Yes. A terrible business.
He did it to destroy the evidence, did he? That Enoch Drebber.
Court will take this print as evidence, counsel.
Alright, a photographic print of the experimentation stage after it was completely leveled by a time bomb. The metal floor of the stage has been blown open by the explosion. So it does show the trap door, so that's important. That's just a picture. Okay. Late yesterday afternoon, protection afforded to the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. Oh? Oh, worm? As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity.
Indeed. Most unfortunate state of affairs.
However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Of that we can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine, and who ultimately caused its loss of control.
Objection!
I don't know about that. As Lord Van Zeeks rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Asman died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters.
Names, counsel, if you please.
The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Asman. So what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant.
Thank you, counsels. The positions of the prosecution and defense have been clearly stated. Lord Van Zeeks, summon your first witness, please.
At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to the stand.
Oh boy.
There he is. State your name and occupation for the court. We'll get to him in a second. Welcome in, Panda. Howdy. The child's decision.
He's smelly! Guilty! He stinks! Get him out of here! He's making me right sick!
Just cracking myself up here. Oh. It's actually his long-lost evil twin brother, Bazuma.
This guy stinks!
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Dance break. How old is he supposed to be? Oh, were you still talking about the corn child? Child of the corn. I think it's so funny that this game is so rooted in its location that they could not localize it and make it American this time. They had to stay true. They had to stay true. It is he. Oh boy, it's him. Clockwork Man. Yes. The one and only. Clockman.
Name, Enoch Drebber. Occupation, hard to pin down, I would say.
See that black monocle? Yes. Why do I feel as though I've seen it somewhere before? Oh, you do? I had exactly the same feeling myself.
Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. Theft of a waxwork model, is it? A most extraordinary sounding business. But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Leave it from your mind. You're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago? The accused's super high voltage instantaneous kinesis demonstration. Yes, you could say that. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Drebber, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it, in precise accordance with the blueprints. But that's all. Then the court would be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure.
Just... What is he doing? My controller! I didn't drop it, it's fine. An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. What?
Good gracious! Do you mean to say that the experiment was bona fide? Is that your belief, sir?
Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up.
Objection!
But we've already established the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick.
Objection!
You've established nothing of the sort. All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by means of staged trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more.
But...
We've procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition.
Understood. I try to make him sound like dead and robotic because that's what he looks like. So, I hope that's going well. The kinesis machine. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction. He provided me with the blueprints, and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. A fitting voice, thank you. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin?
Yeah, he had the wax figure that you stole?
Did you forget we knew about that? All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. A body double? That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something has moved when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. But would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? It is giving Alan, isn't it? I was gonna say that! I was! What the fuck? It's lower than Alan, though. Alan's a little bit more high-pitched. But would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? This homeless man won't leave, so I'm spraying him with dirty brown water. I am pronouncing the T's. It's a little similar, I will admit that. Ugh. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asman had no twin siblings.
It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine.
Whatever do you mean?
Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Drebber.
Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists who elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yes, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witness's workshop attests to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found this Royal Society trophy for young talent in science there. Yes, that's true. We spotted it there ourselves. If a hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past.
Would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was
an unfortunate accident? Or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of the science? Why does he look like Sephiroth from the back? Looks a little bit like Sephiroth.
Counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord.
Cross-examination summation.
The kinesis machine. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction.
Hold it!
So you are already acquainted with Mr. Asman himself? Not really. By chance, I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers, that's all. But I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrupulous investor, it was no concern of mine. As long as people pay their bills, I take up my tools and construct what they ask for. So why did Mr. Asman approach you in particular, then? Who can say? I presume because my name is associated with excellence in engineering. Not to mention excellence in fraud. Hard to gauge. But the point is, all I did was construct the machine according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, the kinesis machine was built on solid scientific principles. Yes, you might say that. Professor Hairbrain certainly has a mind like no other. Provided me with the blueprints and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick.
Hold it!
It's clear that you have both scientific knowledge and a knowledge of conjuring magic, however. The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to handle whatever comes along. But your implication is that I furnish the machine with some trickery, I think. It's a possibility that we have to explore. Unfortunately, though, the machine has been blown to Kingdom Come. So there's really nothing left to explore, is there? It appears that the kinesis machine was fitted with a timed explosive device of some kind. And there's nothing left of that device either. Not a single shred of evidence remaining, I hear. He must have planned all this from the outset. But in any case, it's abundantly clear that the experiment couldn't have been a trick. Never actually played a Final Fantasy game. I only know Sephiroth from Donald Duck being like, Sora, it's Sephiroth. I also never played Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is a wild ride. I think I would have liked it as a child, but I'm too old to take it seriously now. Funny you say that. I played Kingdom Hearts, the first one, for the first time, literally like 6 years ago. It was the first game I ever streamed on Twitch, but you will not find the videos anywhere. And I played it because I knew that the third game was coming out, and Ruuuvo and all of their friends played Kingdom Hearts when they were younger, and they were all really excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just give it a shot. I'll give it a try. And you know what? It actually made me cry. It did actually make me cry. It is ridiculous. I mean, there's literally Disney characters in it. But, you know, if you like Disney at all, it's not that bad. It's not like that corny. It is. But it's like you can deal with it. And the sad parts of the game actually did make me cry a little bit. So I actually do like Kingdom Hearts now. I'm a newer fan to it, but I played the first one. And then I don't think I really fully played through any of the other ones, except when 3 came out, me and Ruuuvo both played it. And I watched like cutscenes from the other games to kind of catch up on the story. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts in general is super complicated, super convoluted. At one point after I had like played the games and watched all the cutscenes and stuff, I could have explained Kingdom Hearts in a way that was easy to understand. But it's been so long, I don't have that anymore. So it kind of sucks. Like, I could actually sit here probably and explain it, but I just don't remember how I used to explain it. I don't remember everything from the series because it's been years now. And my memory ain't too great, so yeah. I don't remember my little explanation, but probably somewhere in old streams I explained it pretty well, but I don't know. I can't remember. No remember good. The writing does get corny, but I think it can still be fun. A fun time for any age. Yeah. That's pretty much how I felt. Like, it was corny, but it actually did get me a little emotional too. But you can definitely make fun of it while you're playing it. You're like, what did he say? Are you kidding me? Bishi unknowingly played it on super hard. I did. I did a typical Bishi thing and didn't realize an entire mechanic in the game. I didn't know that you could switch out your Keyblade after every finished level. And so I used the Keyblade from the very beginning of the game until pretty much almost the very, very end. I got to one part where I was stuck forever. I think it was like literally the last, like the final boss. And I couldn't do it. And I was like, man, why am I struggling so hard? So I went to go like look at my items and stuff. And I realized in the menu that I could have swapped to like new Keyblades. And oh my god, it was like super easy. I did it the next attempt because I used like the strongest weapon I had. I was sitting there thinking like, this is a game for kids? This is a game for kids. And I can't do it. It's because I didn't realize I could switch my weapon. So yeah, that's an old Bishi story. I do like Disney cartoons like Donald Duck. Yeah, you might like it then. It's corny, but it's not unplayable, you know? Getting into a big franchise like that seems like a lot of work. It definitely, you know, like playing through the first game took a minute. And then if you want to actually play through the other games, that will take a long time. I just watched cutscenes from some of like the major games and then played 3. And 3 was pretty fun. I would definitely recommend 3. It won't hit as hard if you don't have knowledge of the other games, but you could just look at cutscenes and stuff and then play 3. But 1 is still pretty playable. All I know about Kingdom Hearts is there's a lot of souls getting ripped from people's bodies and Mickey Mouse is there. Yeah, That's it. That's all you need to know. But yeah, it's just like, it's like a mix of a Square Enix, like Final Fantasy characters with Disney characters. And yeah, it's about like the world getting corrupted and people's souls, kind of like they're getting taken over by an evil entity and they get turned into these like little gremlin shadow creatures when they're corrupted, and it's about your heart and the power of friendship and stuff like that. Bundles help to digest the series a lot better compared to growing up and having to have 5 different consoles to play. Yep. Yeah, the bundles are much better. When I was little, I didn't realize I could use AP action skills and just was trying to fight without equipping anything. Oh my god. I still understand why Sora wears clown shoes. Like, are his feet actually that big? His outfit is based off of Mickey's usual design. Since Mickey wears big yellow shoes, so does Sora. There you go. I guess it's to bridge the gap between Final Fantasy and Disney. They have to do some Disney on the Final Fantasy, I guess. Make it work. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Did the victim have a twin?
Hold it!
I'll probably present something to this. Of course. That's it. Mr. Asman was a twin.
Objection!
Perhaps my learned friend wasn't listening earlier. Mr. Asman had no twin siblings. No, I heard you before, but the thread of hope hadn't quite left me. The demonstration could have been a trick if there was somebody who looked sufficiently like the victim. But Dr. Scythe absolutely ruled that out as a possibility. It is beyond question that the victim himself, Mr. Asman, did move from the stage to the Crystal Tower. Fingerprints found at the scene attest to the fact. Okay, well, how it happened, at least from what I've seen so far, is they had a body double, the wax sculpture, in the machine, and then it went down the trapdoor, and then Asman, probably, maybe already dead? I don't know, actually. But his body was in a green hot air balloon, which exploded because probably Mr. Robot shot it down with his crossbow, and then that body fell. So it looked like he got teleported, but he did not. The fingerprints found at the scene attest to the fact. So it can't have been orchestrated using someone who looked identical to Mr. Asman then. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, no, nothing. Just that the idea of someone who looked identical to the victim is playing on my mind. They're really trying to give you hints there. All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the Crystal Tower.
Hold it!
It crashed headfirst, you say? According to the many witness reports from those there at the time, yes. Were you not there at the exhibition grounds on the day? Of course he wasn't. Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop. Yet another of your unique inventions was found at the scene. How do you explain that? I don't know. Well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for many months. I saw it clearly with my own eyes. The birdcage plummeting headfirst into the tower. Oh, so suddenly you were there. Okay. What a surprise. I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it? How would you have come by that information? Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers, you know. According to the reports, 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body. Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver believed to belong to the defendant, and he had broken vertebrae as a result of a fall from a considerable height. Correct. My learned friend has been doing his research, it seems. Do we know which injury was the fatal one? Sadly not. Forensic science is not yet at a level where such things can be determined. What we do know is that the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment, and since he was found in the birdcage with his neck broken, it's obvious that he fell from a considerable height. Suppose that's hard to deny. Terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed.
Hold it!
So you understood the science, did you? Not in the slightest. Oh, right. As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture according to the blueprints I am given. I would be inviting manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them. I could be accused of stealing those ideas, for example. But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on? Well, you're practicing law without really understanding the principles it relies on, aren't you? Okay, Mr. Drebber. Let's calm down. A very good point. Stand up for yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. The point is, the experiment resulted in an instantaneous kinesis taking place. As such, the science must be sound. Yes, and really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis. Yeah. He's certainly very sure of himself. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed by yesterday's explosion, it's going to be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or the other. But if we're unable to establish that it was a piece of stage trickery rather than genuine science, we will have no grounds on which to demonstrate Professor Harebrain's innocence. Both Mr. Asman and this man in the stand tricked the professor and used him. They took advantage of his naivety and his unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. And seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Van Zeek's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Drebber? Yeah, he did get him there. Okay, I pretty much know what to do, I think. Wait. There. Here. We will react to that. People have explained to me the whole Sora, Roxas, Ventus, Vanitas thing to me so many times, but I still don't get it. This is not me asking for an explanation, because I'm not going to understand no matter how hard you try. That's alright. I wasn't going to try. No. I couldn't tell you. If you asked me, like, 4 years ago, I could have told you. Nowadays, not so much. Okay. It's early, but I'm going to take a break. I will be back in 5 minutes. And I'm going to present some evidence to him and see if that works. But either way, feel free to grab a drink or a snack if you need it. That's what I'm going to do. Or use our in-chat commands, which will be listed in just a second. Yeah, BRB. Alright, we are back. Get back to Ace Attorney. So we're going to present... Do I have something about the wax sculpture? I have this. Then you can't see the face, so... I don't think it's gonna be the head. I could show the glass as proof that, like, the waxwork was there, but it might be too specific right now. Did I look at the camera? I don't know if I looked at the camera yet. What a wonderful machine. You really love contraptions like this, don't you? Oh yes. Anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely. Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's worrying. Yes, Father tells the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch. Poor Professor Mikotoba. You didn't even put it back together, girl. Oh! What is this?
Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
What is it?
On the bellows, just here. There seem to be some very dark red stains.
Yes, you're right. It looks like blood, actually.
Oh my.
I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Okay, camera from around the neck of the waxwork of Mr. Drebber in the special exhibit. When the lens is extended, dark staining is visible on the bellows. Interesting. Very interesting. Welcome in, Matt. Howdy. Hey, lawyer dude. We got lawyer dude, lawyer gal. We're getting some work done today in Resolve. We're in episode 3 at the moment. And day 3. We're in the middle of a trial. Have you played this game, Matt? When I was a kid, I used to take apart all of my toys and then cry when I couldn't put them back how they were. Oh no! You wanted to see how they worked, but then you couldn't get them to work. Oh look, the cover came open.
Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see.
Is something wrong?
There is no plate. It's been removed.
Ah, what a pity. But I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time. Just like the waxwork isn't the actual person, then why is there blood? So we would never have found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway.
Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course.
Poor Susato-san. She looks devastated. I do love how that opened up just now. That was very satisfying. Okay, I think that's it. Okay. And then we've already looked at the bird cage. We have this opening there. Picture of Drebber, picture of the balloon, the screwdriver, autopsy report. So I don't actually have anything about the waxwork other than the head. I guess I can present that. It's either that or the glass or some other thing I'm not thinking about. Yeah. I'll go with this.
Objection.
That is not it. Nope. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll just take the penalty for now. I'll take at least one penalty just for saying the wrong thing. Okay. I'm gonna try the glass, but if that doesn't work, I'm gonna load. Victim have a twin.
Hold it.
Oh, not press. My bad. That was the wrong thing.
Objection.
Let's speed through this. Chronicles has been on my list, but I've seen several playthroughs, so I've seen the entire game practically. Ah, okay. Yeah, especially with a game like this, like a visual novel with puzzles and stuff, if you already know what's gonna happen, it's not nearly as fun to play, I feel like. Okay. Let me actually try the glass now.
Objection.
That is also not it. Okay. I gotta think about this more deeply then. Okay. I mean, he's definitely referencing the waxwork Ryu, but like, I don't really have evidence for that right now. I'm pretty sure I've already looked at this and you can't open it. I've already talked about it, yeah. Weird. I feel like that's gonna get revealed at like the end of the case, honestly. We do have the trophy now. Maybe there's something special about this. We have this. There's a little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery.
It seems rather ironic, doesn't it?
But clearly Mr. Drebber really was a very talented scientist. Yeah. Nothing else? Okay. Do we examine the glass? This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide.
Yes, I've never seen anything like it.
If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin.
There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know.
Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely.
Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure.
Okay, and that is all we get from that. Anyone can just get a trophy engraved to say anything, though. True. It could be a fake trophy. I don't know what to present. Maybe I'm presenting to the wrong thing. We're trying to talk about a twin. Anna! Anna! How you doing, Anna? Welcome in. Howdy, howdy. We're playing some Ace Attorney. And I'm stuck already. We've got Mr. Drebber here. We're in the second day of trial. In episode 3 with the hot air balloons and stuff. I'm just gonna try some random stuff and see if something sticks.
Objection!
No? Okay. I will take the penalty for now. Oh, this mission. Did you not like this one, Anna? A lot of interesting characters with this one. I was so sure I had to respond to this and talk about the wax model, but I don't know. I don't really have anything. The victim have a twin. I guess at this point, we don't know if this looks just like Asmund, but it's heavily implied. Oh, maybe it's this about the body falling head first because this has a break at the bottom of it, not the top?
Objection!
That was it. Okay. Yeah, I had to think a little bit more. I had to think a little outside the birdcage, so to say. We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the Crystal Tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the Crystal Tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. Ooh. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. What are you saying? That's the opposite of where they should be. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the Crystal Tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two bird cages in play that day, which were at some point switched. Switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. Why was only some of that highlighted? Good gracious! Explain yourself, witness. After I read chat. I've played a few of the fan games based off of this, like Return of Naruhodo, but it's been a while since I've seen things for these games, so I'm hoping when I play it I forget about what I've seen solved. Ah, okay. Yeah. If you don't have a amazing memory, amazing like photographic memory or something, it might be fine. I have an awful memory. I forget things so easily. But I'll remember something from like, 20 years ago. So I actually take notes every stream about little details, because sometimes Ace Attorney, it's all about the details, so I would not remember, because I play this like once a week, This case was just not as fun as the others, in my opinion. I didn't like the scientist guy, but this man is hot. Oh yeah, the Drebber. I think the coroner is hot too. Would say that Great Ace Attorney does have the hottest character design so far. Yeah. Oh yeah, lots of hotties. Lots of hotties. I liked this case, but that's because it has Drebber. The snags when solving the puzzles in these games always seem to be that the players, myself included, hyper-focus on specific clues or details when the solution is actually something unrelated. Yeah, that happens a lot. I will get caught up in one specific thing that I'll remember, like, oh, I have this one detail I'm remembering, and then when that doesn't fit, I'm like, oh god, now what? I have no idea. But thankfully I figured it out. I feel like with the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, I don't get as stuck as I did with the main trilogy. The main trilogy was really rough on me. I was getting stuck like every single stream. When I get stuck in this game, it's usually like maybe 20 minutes of going back and forth trying to figure something out. Eventually I'll get it. Or like last time where I was just stuck for an hour not realizing that I had missed a single clue that was just a book on a desk that I didn't notice. Now that's just a me problem. Visually, I did not notice it. But usually with like the logic puzzles, I feel like I do pretty good in this game.
Explain yourself, witness.
Well... We examine the facts. There's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower.
Objection!
But multiple witness reports claim it fell head first. The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion at an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the crystal tower in the ensuing deflagration. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable.
Objection!
But the victim's neck was broken.
Objection!
He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. Is he still hot? He laughs like that. A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. Though to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually. He wasn't quiet for long.
I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Van Zeeks. This witness is clearly a swindler, and one who deceived a personal friend of his.
If you're going to establish this deception, do it right.
Sorry?
I feel like that's the undertone here. The song does go hard. I like his theme song. It's pretty good. I'm gonna let him dance. The original games could be pretty difficult sometimes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I had to have chat give me hints pretty much once a case, other than maybe the tutorial case. It was tough. You know what else happens? Or like, you know what happens? Oh, you know what happens, but it's a step to get to that doesn't make sense. Yes. Yes, 100%. You'll jump to the end and not know how to get there. My problem is that these series of games make you have to keep reanalyzing evidence and pressing each statement to pull more information, and it penalizes you for presenting evidence that's not updated. Yeah, like you gotta make sure you look at everything in the court record so it can update if there's some little secret in it. Yeah, it definitely punishes you for not investigating enough. But sometimes it's like, the answer is just totally, what? Like, there's been so many moments, especially in the original trilogy, where I was like, that's the answer, are you kidding me? Sometimes it was laughably simple and I was overcomplicating it, but sometimes it was so convoluted. I agree, this one has a lot better flow from evidence and puzzle solving. Yeah, I think that's why I've been having a better time. It's just, I think it's a little bit nicer. But I will always really, really love the trilogy, because that's what got me to play the games. I think over the years, Capcom learned how to make these games challenging without being completely opaque. Yeah, I think they have a really good balance with these two games. Ah, yes. And there's one more point the defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What? What?
Seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Drebber, will amend your testimony with details of this truth.
Of course. We must treat the matter scientifically, after all. Ugh, I nearly had him there. Okay. Okay. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Okay, that's not true. We have the hot air balloon. Now I have to write some notes about what we just found out. So, there may have been 2 bird cages that got swapped, which is why there's a broken bottom of one of the bird cages. Or broken bottom of the bird cage. When it was supposed to have fallen head first. Okay. Funky Robo Man. Okay.
Hold it!
What do you mean? Well, before the demonstration began, the victim was alive on stage in front of the audience. Yes, there are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Asman on the experimentation stage, that's true. And the victim's neck broke as a result of an impact following a fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere. The balloon that exploded was at an altitude of 60 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. Okay, balloon exploded 60 feet. Impact 30 feet up. Okay. That difference of 30 feet is therefore the total distance the birdcage fell. And there's no other location from which the cage could have fallen that distance if it didn't drop out of the sky. That's not true. Ergo, the victim himself must have been beamed from the stage into the sky above the crystal tower.
A trenchant scientific analysis. Dear me, every time I hear it explained, it sounds increasingly plausible.
Oh yes, it's all very well thought out. Certainly all the spectators on the day saw it. The birdcage plummeting 30 feet through the air, I mean. Irritatingly, yes.
That's because he pulled a fast one on us.
Terrible accident, I grant you. Okay, wait. Okay, so this is just the new dialogue. Yeah. And then the ending. Okay, so we are going to save again. And present something. There's nowhere else 30 feet high. Okay, so I think I can show the picture of the balloon. Yeah.
Objection!
Is that not it? Defense would have to object to that last statement. Really? Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and load. I don't like having only 3 lives there. I don't like that. I really thought it was immediately gonna be that. Okay, let me think. Let me think. I wasn't really thinking, just jumped to conclusions. The kinesis took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. I'm so surprised it's not this. This is the whole prevailing theory we have. Okay. Oh yeah, those shards of glass look exactly like the one on the wax model. What I'm wondering is how the glass got on the wax model. Unless, like, maybe he was already in the crystal tower and the dummy fell and then he swapped the bodies and that's how the bird cages got swapped. And so the dummy's actually the one that was in the balloon and fell. Maybe. I could try showing that diagram. I could try to show the piece of the balloon. Maybe. I really thought it was going to be that picture. Sounds as plausible as anything in this game. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to try a few different things. Weird. It's not that. Okay. I guess I will just keep trying things until we get something. Let's see.
Objection.
It was this one. Oh. Okay, that was one of my ideas. I hate doing like the just try different things until it works, but for some reason I'm not getting them right away this time. This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the crystal tower. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. No! Maybe they're going somewhere else I'm not thinking.
Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Of course.
You will indicate the place to which you are referring to on this same diagram.
Oh, God. The fact that I don't know what he's talking about, I'm scared. Okay. The alternative location from which the birdcage could possibly have fallen the requisite 30 feet. Well, it panned down, didn't it? Are we thinking that the real one fell from here and went into the trapdoor, maybe? Because I can't even go up there to be like, oh, he fell off of the roof. Yeah, I'm gonna say the trapdoor. Let's see if that works.
Take that!
The place I'm referring to is here. Okay, I think I got it.
That's where the birdcage would have been to begin with.
Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself.
Go on, counsel.
So, I wasn't thinking about that. But I do know about that trapdoor, and I do know something's going on with it. Okay. It turns out that the experimentation stage was built at a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's at about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. And then that would fall feet first. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and, if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. He's sweating now. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two.
Objection!
2 bird cages with 1 stone. My learned friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance in its design. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion.
Good lord! The metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone!
Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Ooh. Mr. Drebber. It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the 2 bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Asmon's life. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Grrr. Wah!
Objection!
Oh boy. If my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions, prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly but surely. What? Right? Like, I don't think it's a katana because, like, the hilt looks different. I could be wrong. But he's using it like a katana. Yes. Your argument fails to hold water. On 2 counts. Okay, well, I'm gonna write down what he was saying anyway. Let's see. Birdcage 1 could have fallen through the experiment's trapdoor and killed Asmon. I think that's all I need to write down. Okay. 2. Dos. Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that.
And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment.
In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages. I was thinking about that.
Objection!
But I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to. The nonsense with the crossbow. That doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself?
Why can't this game play itself?
I have here a contract provided by the witness.
What contract is this, Lord Van Zeeks?
The contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Asmon. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income.
30%. Certainly very favorable contractual conditions.
Well, maybe he wanted 60% or 100%. But there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Interesting. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asmon's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. Unless you don't care about money and you just want to kill him for your own reason. Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. let's see. Drebber and Asmon had a contract. If either died, no money. Also, Zeeks says that the man who... Let's see, what did he say exactly? Because this might matter later. Yeah. Okay, the man who disappeared from the stage and man who crashed into the tower are the same. But we're not sure about that. Got it. Hey Conker, welcome in. I thought this was the past. Why is there a cyborg? I mean, he's like a steampunk cyborg. It technically works. He's a scientist. Yeah, he's not actually a robot. But he likes to pretend to be one. Okay, we did not have an opportunity or a reason. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil. Ugh.
Wow.
Look at Sephiroth. Look at him go. I'm just gonna call him Sephiroth now.
Seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Van Zeeks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please.
Ooh. Let me have a look at that. Contract between Mr. Asmon and Mr. Drebber detailing the terms by which they would profit from the kinesis experiment. Okay. Let's have a gander. Hey Zoe, welcome in. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. We're making some progress in Ace Attorney. And I had more potato soup for dinner. So I am not hungry at all. I'm very full, in fact. This is the 19th century. Haven't they talked about DNA? It's like late 1800s, I think. And they kind of are starting to discover fingerprints, but it's not officially used in court cases in the game. And they have... There's a, like, thing that Herlock does with blood types, where if you shoot it with this powder thing, it'll turn different colors, and that way you can kind of match it to a person, but you don't know, like, the blood type. That's about it, though. Like, they don't really talk about, oh, you know, we know this person was here because we found a hair, and the hair matches the DNA, you know. They don't have anything like that in the game. Even photos are, like, still a little primitive, too. But there are photos. They're taking some artistic liberties, definitely. Potato soup pug.
It was really good.
Herlock doesn't follow timeline. Herlock himbo. He don't even know what time means. I love potato soup. Yeah, I learned how to make it, like, what, like earlier this year? A few months ago or something? It's been a little while. So now whenever we have a whole bag of potatoes, I usually make potato soup. Now it's even better if you have a fresh baked bread loaf, especially a rosemary bread loaf. Ruuuvo bakes that sometimes. And just a toasted slice of that rosemary bread with the potato soup, like, to dip it in. Oh my god! It's divine. But yeah, it's like a loaded baked potato soup. I'm coming over for dinner. Yeah, we are cooking in this kitchen. Me and Ruuuvo, we are cooking. We make some pretty good stuff. I should post pictures of the food we make more often. I'm usually cooking dinner nowadays, but you know, Ruuuvo cooks too. I take pictures almost every time we make really good food, and I just never post the pictures. I don't know. I gotta post them. Gotta show off. Dinner at Bishi's house this weekend. It's gonna be leftover potato soup. I'd ascend if I tasted that. It's really good. Get ready for all of chat to show up. We'll make it a potluck. Oh, well, I wouldn't mind if y'all brought your own food, yeah? I love potlucks. Are you kidding? I love it. I love trying a bunch of different food. Oh my goodness. We've done that before in a few of my college classes, I think. There would be like some random reason for us to do like a potluck thing and people would bring different foods and stuff. I think it's actually pretty fun. Okay. There is a little bug in here. Frightening me. Okay. Terms of investment. The investor, Mr. Odie Asman, hereby enters into contract with the provider, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to fund labor and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. Mr. Drebber may only uphold his right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. And then we have O. Asman and E. Drebber. I'm going to look at this a little bit more closely in a moment. Okay. Gonna bring some beef stew that I made with my mom. Yes. I would love that. I'll make carnitas. Ooh. Oh yeah, you've talked about how you make good carnitas before. I gotta visit you, Enna, someday. And then you can cook for me! I can make a really good pea salad with bacon. Oh, I haven't had that before. Doesn't really work very well without the bacon. Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, like, me and Ruuuvo still eat meat. We just don't cook it at home. But we'll still eat it, like, if other people do it. I would love to, yes! Yes! I've heard people don't like shomes. Really? Who doesn't like shomes? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's like the fandom's himbo. Their favorite himbo. I don't think I've seen anyone that doesn't like him. I was thinking other folks in chat might be vegetarian. Oh, well. There will be vegetarian dishes. Probably. Who doesn't like Sholmes? One of the best Ace Attorney characters. I imagine some people might not like Sholmes for being kind of like a dummy, I guess. Like, for not getting things right, and then, like, we have to go in and fix everything. But I don't know. I mean, I didn't like him at first. I thought he was kind of annoying, and then now he's just kind of like a lovable himbo kind of character. Hated him in the beginning, yeah, and then he took off his hat and I fell in love. Oh no, he's hot! And dumb! Perfect! A perfect man! Yeah, what would everyone bring if you brought something to a potluck? Let's go full send with this. We jokingly hate on Herlock, but that's because we bully the funny people here. Yeah. He's very easy to make fun of, but we do love him. We love an ADHD king. Oh, you're saying that Onsta doesn't like, Herlock? Is that what you're saying, Conker? I didn't know that. I'd be curious to hear why. But to each their own. Like, I don't love Herlock. I like him. If people don't like him, like, it doesn't bother me. Oh, I can also make a vegan carnitas. Ooh. How do you make that? We, sorry, we're going on tangents right now. I know I should be playing, but, that's just a perfect segue for this other thing I wanted to talk about. So like I said, me and Ruuuvo are trying not to cook with real meat other than seafood, at home. And Ruuuvo's also sick, so we can't really do grocery shopping. So my mom helped us out and got us some groceries, and I told her, like, oh, well, can you look for, like, a non-meat, kind of like a hot dog or sausage thing? Like, there's a lot of different plant-based ones. And she brought me 6 different types. I just wanted one. But she brought me a plethora of choices, and I'm scared we're not gonna eat them all because it's just so many. I could literally make like a review video. I have so many different types. One of the ones though was a plant-based chorizo, and I've talked about it this week because I've been eating it like every morning. It's really good. It's actually really good. And I love chorizo. But it's so messy and it's really not good for you. I ate it anyway. But this new one, to me, it tastes delicious. It's definitely different from the real thing, but I think it's fine. I have it with tacos, and it's so, so good. But that's the only one I've tried so far. There's like 4 others I need to try. Oh, it's just a meme on her stream. Okay. Okay. Well, see, we like to make fun of Herlock. I feel like that's usually the thing that happens, is like, we make fun of him, but we don't actually dislike him or anything. Didn't like him at first, but by the end, he's earned my love. We've been through it with him. Perhaps some Sherlock Holmes fans don't appreciate the parody. That could be a thing, too, if you're a big fan of Sherlock Holmes. Maybe you won't like this parody of him. Yeah. That could be an idea. For vegan carnitas, I use soy curls for the... Oh, okay. Soy curls. Soy is so versatile. I would bring cake to a potluck. I don't know how to make good food, but I can make good cake. Hey, that's good. We need a dessert. You know? I would probably bring the potato soup. I'm pretty good at making it, honestly. If I went to a potluck, I would bring beef stew, like I said, but maybe potato salad. I do love potato salad. There's different types of potato salad, though. There's different types. I like some more than others. Mole and charro beans. Ooh, I would eat that, too. I could bring crock pot pinto beans. Are really good. They've got jalapenos and stuff, and the potato soup. Totally different. Now I'm hungry. I know. I was just saying I feel really full from dinner, but now that we're talking about food so much, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let me look at this a little bit closer. So, Asmund enters into contract with Drebber, fund labor and materials for a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. 30%. So it's basically what they said. I don't know if we're gonna catch any kind of like contradictions here, but we will see. I didn't put the 30% in here. Okay, there. Now I have it. Okay. Back to Ryu. It's true. If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the crystal tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. There is one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. There were 2 birdcages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. Yeah, because we have it falling head first, but then there's damage on the base of it. Ah. So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths, too. Alright, Sasato with the pep talk. Well, it seems that the defense has no rejoinder to offer. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection!
At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only 1 birdcage. Yet now we know there must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized. I think it's abundantly clear. The same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. He's so mad. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved. Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice. Ooh. Why didn't I think of that at all? I was wondering, like, how would he have moved stuff around and done so many things? So he... Okay. Okay. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice. An accomplice now. Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. The prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander.
Well, counsel?
Well, I think I'm gonna save. Just in case.
Do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter?
What do I do here? At the moment, this is little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Drebber had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear, as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Drebber have an accomplice, or not? Now, if he had an accomplice, I have to say who it is.
I have no freaking clue.
It was Iris! It was the baby!
The only answer. I mean, I think it's possible that Asmin could have helped Drebber without realizing that Drebber's end goal was going to be to kill him. And so he's the accomplice, but then he got stabbed. Not in the back, of course, but in the front. By him. I don't know why his vertebrae was broken, though. You know, but I'm feeling like maybe it could have been Asmin somehow who didn't realize what was going to happen. We're still trying to prove this dude's innocence, so I wouldn't want to say it's him. Although that is something I'm going to think about. Do we trust Tusspells? Do we trust her, though? I don't know. Probably not you. It's Guts! The other baby! And... this is a stretch, I will admit that. Anyone on this page is a stretch. I know it kind of is a stretch to say Asmin, but I feel like that's Ace Attorney logic. Or it really was Hairbrain and he actually is guilty, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna save again, just so I can get back to this spot faster. And I'm going to say yes, an accomplice, because usually in Ace Attorney it's better to say yes than to back down. And then I'm gonna name Odie Asmin and see what happens. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Let me catch up with chat. I need a snack, yeah. I'm gonna need to eat something after stream now. And yes, there was a Watson, but he has since passed away. Iris is his daughter, so she's kind of like the new Watson, so to say. Oh, I do love a tres leches cake. I don't like mayonnaise, so I don't like anything that people say is salad and doesn't have vegetables. I get that. I don't really like normal mayonnaise too much, but I do love Kewpie mayonnaise, Japanese mayonnaise. It's sweeter, and I think it tastes a lot better. I wish that we got more 3D Ace Attorney games. Yeah, I really love how the Chronicles games are made, and I hope that maybe someday they'll make some more. We'll see. I assume all future Ace Attorney games will be 3D like the newer ones. That would be nice. I like how in all the playthroughs I've seen people make the Irish joke. It's an easy one. I will say it's an easy one to make. It was definitely the little German boy. Has a defendant ever been guilty in one of these games? Yes. Actually, yeah. Second game had the best example of such case. Yeah. Yeah. It's usually like a big deal, but yes. Maybe one day we'll be able to walk around an Ace Attorney with a camera control. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. But would Kewpie taste good with mustard on a turkey sandwich? I think it would, actually. I have it on sandwiches all the time. Yeah. It's not like sugar sweet. It's just sweeter. It has a little bit of a different flavor than like American mayonnaise. I think it's nice. I use it just like I would use normal mayonnaise, honestly. Ace Attorney open world when? Let's make it Breath of the Wild style. Okay, name of the accomplice. How is Kewpie spelled? It's Kewpie. Kewpie. Yeah. I love it. We stock up on it every time we go to a store that has it. We'll get like 2 or 3 at a time. Okay. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. I guess. Maybe. Somehow, the 2 bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. Oh yeah, you know what I think happened? I feel like Asmund was the accomplice because at first, what he was helping with was pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. And tricking everyone into thinking this machine was really doing the kinesis thing. But then, it turns out, Drebber wants to kill him. Now, we don't know why. We don't know the motive. Something's kind of formulating in my mind, but not enough to say. We'll see. That inconsistency itself is a clue. Okay. Counsel? My lord? You have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? Mr. Asmund, of course.
Take that!
Who is this person? What? It's the victim! Someone intimately related to the crime, my lord, and someone you surely wouldn't say you don't know. Yes, thank you. I am aware of the person, obviously. But on what basis do you claim felonious involvement? So it's not him. You surely wouldn't say you don't know, would you?
Wah!
Oh, dear God.
I'm sure you simply slipped and pointed to the wrong person, didn't you? There's no other explanation.
No slip-ups this time, please, counsel. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? Okay, it's not Mr. Asmund, so... Who could it be? Yeah, Sasato's like, you pointed to the wrong one, right? You couldn't possibly have actually thought that. Oh, Sasato, you wound me. You wound me! It could be... Mr. Twink right here. I'm still thinking about Miss Tusspells. I mean... I'm still on the... of the opinion that it wasn't him. He wasn't involved in any way. This is like the other likely person. Only because she's like somehow related to all of this. I don't know. Could he have done something? I don't think so. What's this? Imagine you go through the entire cast and it actually ends up being the little German boy.
My life in Germany is not so interesting. I needed to shake things up.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say Tusspells.
Take that!
I don't think so. Who is this person? God damn it all! I'm not doing great today, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Get a few more tries. Now, I could back down. That also could exactly be what I need to do. I am still keeping that in mind because the only other person I think that I could possibly say is Hairbrain. But I don't think so. I mean, maybe the hot air balloon guy, but I really don't think it's, you know, like if it's not him, I could say him and then that is it. It really can't be anybody else. I don't think so. Yeah. I'm going to say Hairbrain, but it might just not be, there's no accomplice. That could be what it is. But let me speed through this real quick. Once I get it, I will catch up with chat. Let's see. Okay.
Take that!
No. I don't think there was an accomplice. I don't think so. I'm gonna go with no accomplice. The only other person would be the hot air balloon guy, but I don't think so. I think I'm gonna back down. All right. Do that in a second. Is Kewpie tangy? I wouldn't say tangy. I think it's just a little sweeter than normal mayonnaise. Maybe more eggy? I think they put more eggs. I'm actually not 100% sure. All I know is I prefer it. Did y'all hear American 7-Eleven is going to start selling Japanese 7-Eleven items? I did! I did kind of hear about that. The strawberry and cream sandwich. I don't like American gas stations. I don't think I would trust it, honestly. I don't know. Oh, thanks so much for the follow. Thank you. Let's see, where did I leave off here? Will they have takoyaki? I would not want takoyaki from a gas station. Now, a 7-Eleven in Japan, yes, I would try it, but it wouldn't be the best. Wouldn't be the best. But I have had some good takoyaki here in the US. I mean, it's the only takoyaki I have access to, but I'm very excited to try it in Japan when we go there. I think it's going to be amazing, but I've had some good ones here. Oh, taiyaki. Taiyaki is... It's not a cookie. It's a, it's kind of like a bready kind of thing. It's like a... What's a good consistency to compare it to? Almost like the breading of like a corn dog, but it's not like a corn dog, you know? But like, imagine something similar to that. But it's batter, and they fill the batter with a bunch of different types of fillings. There can be chocolate, red bean, you know, ube, matcha, what have you. They put that in the middle of the batter, and then they have it in like a fish-shaped, like frying pan, and then it makes this soft, fluffy dessert with filling in it. Yeah. Yeah, red bean paste is like the most common one. There's ice cream ones. Yeah, there's taiyaki ice cream with chocolate sauce. Yeah. But I've been to some places that have like Nutella in it. Yeah. I don't trust eggs at 7-Eleven. Yeah, I don't trust anything really at a 7-Eleven. I don't like eating food from a 7-Eleven unless it's just like a bag of chips or something. Yeah. I want to go to Japan just to eat food. I feel like if I say that, people will think I'm very gluttonous. Maybe I am. Not at all. The food is the main reason I want to go. I think it's just like, it's a totally different culture, so the food is totally different. And I already know that I love Japanese food, so having it in Japan is going to be an amazing experience. I'm going to take a bunch of pictures. I'm going to try a bunch of different things. I have a whole list of stuff I want to try. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I want to do there. Just the sightseeing too, of course, but yeah, food is a big reason for me. The food quality laws are so bad compared to Japan that I wouldn't trust any unpacked food from 7-Eleven. Exactly, like we have regulations here, but they let companies get away with so much crap that it's just, yeah. I mean, you can't even eat raw eggs here. You can eat raw eggs in Japan. Like, I think there's still technically some kind of risk, but it's like nothing compared to here. Nothing. Like here, you gotta make sure you cook your eggs. Japan, they eat raw eggs with a lot of different stuff. Like they'll mix it in rice and stuff. I'm gonna try it. You damn right, I'm gonna try it. Mm-hmm. It's different there. Okay, ice cream seems like really fun. I like that the ice cream is in the fish's mouth. Yeah, yeah. With Japanese food is so good, even the American food is better there. I will say, I've heard pizza is really weird there. The pizza's a little weird. And maybe the pasta. I don't know. I mean, I might try American food there, but I can eat that whenever I want. I'm gonna try all the food that you can't usually find here when I go over there. I miss raw eggs from Japan. I know. I know pasta's Italian, but we have, like, pasta places on every corner here. Like, Italian-American, I guess. I don't know. At this point, pizza's American. We put our spin on it! I heard they don't really have cheese. They have cheese, but it's not exactly the same, and they use it in ways you wouldn't expect. I can't think of an example, but it is treated a little differently there. Like dairy in general, they don't have such a big cheese culture as Americans do. The cheese that they have is like really weird and sweet. The way that food is eaten and cooked by Italian Americans is different from food eaten and cooked in Italy. Yeah, like, I mean, a pizza here is different from a pizza in Italy, is different from a pizza in Japan, is different from a pizza in all of Europe and France, is different from a pizza in South America. We all do pizza a little different. Welcome in, Alfred. Thanks so much for resubscribing for 49.
Oh my god, shit.
Oh my god, shit. We're arguing about pizza right now. Thanks so much for resubscribing. I appreciate you. Here is your star, and I'm gonna get back to playing in a second. We're having a lot of discussions today. There's your star. In the jar it goes. It's matcha colored. Now it's a matcha chicken. Hear me out. I went to an amazing Italian place in Japan that had an uni and roe omelet, and it was the most decadent food I ever tasted. Now, the Japanese restaurants, they know how to make a good omelet. They know how to make a good omelet. Okay. I haven't been there yet, but I already know. They got over rice. That sounds pretty good. Alright, let's do some ace attorneying. Back down. Change my mind. Let's face it, I have no idea who his accomplice might actually have been. Which isn't the strongest position to be in, is it, Ryu? Mr. Naruhodo, think of the sword at your side. Haruma is crying out. Sorry? Crying out for you to show the strength of your conviction now as a lawyer. Yes, you're right. This sword that I inherited, which embodies the will of my best friend, is my own accomplice. I'm not sure that's quite the right word, but okay. That's the spirit, certainly. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Okay, now he had an accomplice! Okay, great! Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. But according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. Okay. But that is a clue. Okay, hold on. Let me think about this. The two bird cages must have been switched. But according to the report, it's not possible. He mentions the coroner. Well, I'm gonna write down who it isn't. Let's do that. It's not Asmon. It's not Airbrain. Who else did I try? We'll check in a second. It is not Asmon. Pretty sure I tried that. Did I try her? I think I tried her already. This goes to show I don't know what I'm doing today. I could try Courtney. Wait. Courtney. Wait a second! I knew this would matter. Courtney Scythe. Wait. Where was it? Where was it? Here? Courtney! Courtney Stevens. Okay. Interesting. We already read this. Can I save? Oh, I guess I'll save. Okay, let's just save from here so I can just restart right away. Oh no, she's married! Dreams crushed! Well, unless she changed her last name so that no one would recognize her, that's a possibility. It's a possibility. Okay.
Take that!
It was her. It was she! That's a tough one, though. Like, it gives you the clue by saying, like, oh, the fact that the coroner said it couldn't be done is a clue. Like, I guess, like, oh, the fact that she's so against it being anything else? I guess. And then the only other clue is that her name, Courtney, is the same as on the, autopsy of the serial killer. So maybe she has something against Asmon. Maybe she's an aristocrat and a family member was killed by him. And so she wanted revenge. That could be a motive for her. For Drebber, I'm not quite sure yet. If you're going to change your name for a disguise, wouldn't you change your first name too? That's true. Maybe she thought Courtney was so common that she could get away with it. Welcome in, Pearl. Howdy. The name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course, I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of them. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. I'm sure it will be all right, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Mrs. Sato. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Counsel, now. Person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe.
What in the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Scythe?
The head of the forensic investigation team, and the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim. We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then, everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? Okay, so you're supposed to logic it out that way, I guess? It can only have been in that team's presence. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. Alright. Yeah, you just eat your corn. She shouldn't be here. She should be in school.
You've got nerve, lad! Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud.
I didn't mean to.
I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal?
God, that hurts my throat.
My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once.
A grave problem?
Oh my word.
Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger?
What?
Certainly, if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also have contained a body.
Okay, so now we get to talk about that.
I see.
Yeah, 1800s Britain, it's a madhouse.
Cage must also have contained a body. And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone, even remotely resembling the victim, have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. That's true. If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must also have been one person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? Name someone, present evidence. Probably present evidence.
It could be the head, it could be the glass. Other than that, it could be to bring up Madam Tusspells. So that'd be a person. I'm not really sure where it wants me to go, but I think it's gonna be one of those. I got 3 options here. I'm gonna go with present evidence. Because if it's naming someone, it's like, oh, this is the body double, you know? How does someone fit in a birdcage? Okay, so it's called a birdcage, but it's not the size of a birdcage. It's this. And the person fits inside of it. They're just calling it a birdcage. Yeah, it's human-sized. A human-sized birdcage. They should have just called it a human cage. I know. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double.
Good gracious, evidence! I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. Court is expecting a name.
If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Ah. The body double inside the second birdcage was... I'm going to show the helmet.
Take that!
We know that the victim, Mr. Asman, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage, and therefore he couldn't have been inside the second one. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower.
Yes, counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events.
And that body double inside the second cage was, in fact... It's all right, Mr. Naruhodo. You're ready for this. Sorry. There was a bug. Just steel yourself and come out with it. Thank you, Mr. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. Oh wow, they brought the whole thing here. I didn't know we had it in the room with us.
Objection!
What the hell is this? Open your eyes and look into mine, my friend. Look into my eyes, chat. What do you see? What do you see? Now tell me, what are you playing at? Oh dear God. What are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryu. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model! Ruuuvo says, gay, gay, homosexual, gay!
You're right.
We see gay, yes. Just a little bit, just a little. No, a lot. Wouldn't this should have like melted? I mean, it's wax, but it's like really strong and durable. I don't know.
I don't know, game logic.
I would love if they kept doing the dramatic flashes and then it showed the girl eating corn. Just like, doon, doon, doon. Minecraft eating noises. Who let Grandpa in here with a gun? The British. See if I missed anything in chat. Read out right now. Drebber's just a fucked up robot. He doesn't have motivations. He's just doing stuff. He's a robot without the law that he shall not hurt humans.
I guess.
I want a lotte. Me too. Me too. Okay. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor.
Objection!
You started by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you've moved on to indicting waxworks? Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Harebrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madam Tusspells.
Did you say abducted?
And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then, the timing.
Is this true, Mr. Drebber?
Ugh. At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now, the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage, as a body double for Mr. Rasman. Gah!
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide? Girl with the corn! Girl with the corn! Wait! Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord.
I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Alright, we'll hear you out in a second.
My favorite kind of elote is on just the corn cob. Yeah. remember hearing that a wax museum was in danger because of global warming. I feel like an exploding balloon would also be a danger to it. In real life, perhaps. Ace Attorney likes to use logic, but also twist it a little bit. Have you ever seen that one picture that's in Spanish, and it's like, oh no, a parrot killed by high temperatures, but then it's a closer picture of the parrot, and it's a corn cob, and it's like, ah, es un elote. Yes. I've seen it many times. I like both. Oh yeah, I will eat both, but the one on the cob is just, oh my god. The answer is yes. Yeah. I think I don't know what is elote actually. Elote is a you can either have like the corn kernels in a cup, or it can just be the corn cob, and you cover it in queso fresco, which is just, you know, goat cheese, and chili powder. Sometimes people put tahini, a mixture of mayonnaise, sour cream, and garlic. Yeah. And then you can put some other stuff on there too, but that's like, at least that's the kind that I have. It can be grilled, yeah, it can be grilled. I've had it just like boiled though, and it's still just as good. Yeah, corn just covered in cheese and sauce. Very good. Oh, smoked. I haven't had it smoked. Y'all are making me so hungry. Stop.
Stop it!
Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty.
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 Guilty. Oh, he's Italian.
Guilty! Guilty!
Kill me.
He stinks!
That's just the corn cob girl now. She just sounds like that. Oh boy. It's time for a summation examination proclamation, y'all. It's time.
So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus.
I knew that was going to happen.
We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual, and see if I can persuade them to change their minds.
The defense will now embark on a summation examination proclamation.
Something. I wanted one more word.
Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged.
Dun dun. I will say queso fresco is like technically a goat cheese, but it's not. I compare it closer to like feta cheese because it's very dry and crumbly. So if you don't like goat cheese that's like the kind of like creamy kind, it's not like that. It's very different. Queso fresco, it doesn't even have like a strong flavor, but that is usually the kind of cheese that's used on elote. I would say you should give it a try. I didn't think I would like it until I tried it, and then I was like, oh, it's delicious. Okay.
I've known that woman for years. She'd never been accomplice to anything.
Oh god.
It's utter nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another.
Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
I have had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
Accusing someone without right evidences? He's not a proper job, is he? I won't have it!
She's my favorite. She's my favorite voice.
Somewhat unsurprisingly, seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion. Given that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Asmund's body double.
Yes, the applause is deafening. And yes, I know it seems extraordinary, but that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used, why it had to be this model. Yeah, I think that Asmund is the professor, the serial killer.
Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean?
Yes, and I'm convinced it's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim.
Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs.
Yes, agreed. I have to find a way out of this.
You are ready, Counsel. You may proceed with the summation examination proclamation.
Yes, my lord. Can y'all think of any other words that, like, rhyme with that? Summation, examination, proclamation. Slayification. Summation, examination. Summation, exclamation, proclamation. Or summation, examination, proclamation, exclamation, declaration. Prosperation? Perspiration? Yassification! Forgot about that one. More! Narification? Exploration, interior, crocodile, allegation. Let's try to make it work. Okay. I've known that woman for years. She would never be an accomplice to anything. Okay. Sure. Because you said so. Floorless allegation. Wow. That's so 2023.
Hold it!
Man car door hook handification. The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason.
I'm a copper, lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs must. What's wrong with that?
Where do I start?
I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years.
That's even more than I thought.
We've only had a Metropolitan Police Service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough. We had to fight crime, and we had to fight to win the public's trust as well. And win we did. Forensic science was in its infancy too, even more than it is now. And she spearheaded the revolution.
Dr. Scythe, you mean?
That's right. About 10 years ago now it was, when I was still a youngish Bobby on the beat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And now look at her, head of the forensic investigation and summation examination justification team. And a woman, no less. Well, you won't hear me complain. It's what we all dream of back then, I tell you.
Californication by the red hot chili peppers. Did you tell me without holding that gun in the air?
We were all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of vim we were. Full of vim.
That's coming across loud and clear. Utter nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another. Did we get anything of use from this? I don't think so. So she is like the head of forensic science and has been for a long time. Oh my goodness. Echo, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in, Echo. Welcome in, Inu. Welcome in, Jaguar. Howdy, y'all. We raid with good vibes in name of the Frog King. That is a very cute emote. Welcome in, y'all. How y'all doing? Can we get a shout out, please? For Echo. What were you playing? What were you up to? Tell me all about it. What they all said. Welcome in, Hybrid. What were you streaming? I'll do a shout out. Let's see. There we go. Ooh, Baldur's Gate 3. Nice, nice. I thought I was finishing BG3, but I actually did not. That's a game where you're thinking you're gonna finish it. You're not. If you think today is the day, it's tomorrow at least, most likely 2 to 3 business days out. That game, oh my god. Me and my spouse Ruuuvo stayed up literally all night to finish it because it just kept going. It was like 9 a.m. by the time we were done. Now, we did start what we thought was the end at like, I want to say maybe 6 in the evening or maybe late like 10? I don't know, but that ending takes forever. Thank you so much for the follow, Hybrid. That ending takes forever. Well, I am sure you will finish it soon. Maybe in another stream or 2. But I hope that you had a good time either way. Did you romance anybody in your playthrough? That's always what I want to know. I romanced Karlach, and Ruuuvo romanced Astarion. So we got to see both routes. I love Karlach. Karlach is actually the best, isn't she? I miss her. I haven't played BG3 in forever. Ever since we finished it. We started a new playthrough like the next day, and then we just stopped playing forever, so we haven't finished the second playthrough yet. I was very close to doing that, and I did the big thing that I thought was the final boss, which was like, just kidding, yup. I romanced Astarion, but chose a thing that made him break up with me. Oh, crap. Oh my god. Astarion can be kind of tough to romance, honestly. There's so many things that you have to do or can't do, or it's just not gonna work. Like, we had to have a guide for him. I stand by my choice. No, yeah. I love Karlach, honestly. Astarion, you kind of have to be a jerk. But to get that vampire boy. Let me see if I missed any messages here. Oh, you're saying the coroner seems kind of young to have been working for so long. Yeah, I wonder, does it say her age? Usually they have ages here. 39. So she's 39, and he's saying 10 years ago. So she was 29. So that's not that bad. I think it's just funny that he's saying he was young 10 years ago, because he's obviously super old. Like, I don't know. It feels like 20 to 30 years earlier would have made more sense, but. I think I saw all of the chat up there. A youngish booba? No. Abby. I'll romance him if I want to do an evil playthrough. Yeah, you have to be a little evil. Just a little bit. But yeah. For anyone who's new in here from that raid, thank you very much, Echo. My name is Bishi. I have they, them pronouns. I am currently playing the great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I am in the second game, which is called Resolve. And I am in the third case of that game. We're currently in the courtroom, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Right now, we are interviewing the jury, actually, which I think is one of the more interesting parts of the game. I really like it's called a summation examination. It's pretty fun. But I also play lots of other types of games. Pearl actually listed some earlier. I think I've played Kirby. I was playing Shim, which is like a new indie puzzle game that came out recently. I'm also a huge fan of the Yakuza series, so if you like Yakuza, you will fit in here very well. I've played all the games, and I'm currently trying to finish Infinite Wealth. Haven't finished it yet, so no spoilers, please. But yeah. Big fan of Yakuza. Love Ace Attorney. We'll play other random stuff like Pokemon. I should be playing Alan Wake, actually, next week. I'm gonna be playing the DLC for the second game. But yeah, just all kinds of stuff. Alright, let's get back to this. So it's utter nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another.
Hold it!
But why, though? But we're only just starting to understand this case. What are you reading there, sir?
Man behind those murders on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. That's real policing for you.
That's really not relevant to this case, though, is it?
You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Scythe in charge of examining the bodies, and it was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of this scoundrel responsible.
Oh.
That's right. Oh. That woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of old tosh.
I thought it was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around. Good night, Echo. No worries. I totally understand. Go get some rest. Go do some self-care. I appreciate the lurk and I appreciate the raid. Good to see you. And I hope that you have a wonderful evening. Maybe we'll see you again sometime. We'll see you around. Have a good day. Good night. Great night. I wanted to do great and good at the same time. Great good. Alright. This is most troubling, but surely the waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it? Okay.
Hold it!
Why would you assume that?
Well, quite simply because that unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does he?
True. As it stands, we don't know of any connection.
Oh gosh, but it would be delightfully romantic if they were somehow to have a mutual interest in the waxwork.
Romantic?
A woman of society, such as myself, views everything in terms of relationships, you know.
Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to. She ships them.
One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there.
This woman may be more astute than I've been giving her credit for. Wait, she's saying... What's she saying? The defendant and the prosecutor? So she ships... Wait, is she shipping... So she's totally shipping robot guy with Van Zeeks right now. Is that what she's saying? She's saying, ooh, handsome bear Van Zeeks? Yeah, maybe maybe him and Drebber. That's amazing.
If that's the woman's stance, then perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Scythe would be enough.
Yes, I agree. Okay, she's saying... Oh my god, I keep doing the wrong button. A connection between the waxwork and Dr. Scythe. Okay. I gotta take some notes here. It's a lot to keep track of. Okay. Connect the waxwork to Scythe. For her. Okay. Got it. Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, she'll be the first to know. I have my own problems with members of the police. I don't trust them much.
Hold it!
What sort of problems?
Let's just say we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street.
Right, I see.
Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult.
Oh. He doesn't like that.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole? I didn't even know that was his name.
Who are you calling a mass murderer?
Oh, sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him.
I don't look anything like the man. You want to be locked up, sonny?
Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Oh my god. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly you do.
Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this.
What was it like, sir?
We worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public's trust, we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then.
I respected you.
No one would have called a coroner to question in them days. A coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name to it.
Oh, Courtney Stevens. See, he's using her old name.
Hold it!
Ooh. Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens? Ah, so if I didn't get that connection before, this is my chance to see that.
Sorry, got a bit carried away there.
Stevens is Dr. Scythe's maiden name. So she did marry! Pack it up, boys. She's not available. She's not available. Her maiden name. So that was before she was married?
Of course, yes. Silly me. It's Scythe now, isn't it?
Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently.
Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing. Not like now.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include the name?
Well, yes. I don't see why not.
His voice hurts so much. She was Courtney Stevens back when I knew her, a legendary coroner even then.
Hold it!
She was legendary, was she?
What did you say? Oh, that woman is still the best coroner in the land. Head of the forensic investigation team.
Legendary was your description, sir, not mine.
Rubbish. That word never passed my lips. I never describe anybody that way. Ever. Not if they were still in the game.
Okay. I think the point you're trying to make is that Dr. Scythe is an extremely talented coroner. Would that be fair?
It would.
Yeah, not the gaslighting!
If it weren't for the fact that you're trying to drag that legendary woman's reputation through the mud.
There he goes again. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that legendary. Okay. So we talked to him. We talked to her. We talked to the magician. Now you. See no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture.
Hold it!
You claimed the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick.
That I did. But there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there?
Sorry?
I grant you, given that this cage appeared from a mist and explosion, there'd have been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit could at least have had the decency to make it look like the victim.
I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency.
Point is, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science. It's just not.
I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But that perhaps means his mind could be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence.
Evidence that the Professor Waxwork was inside that birdcage. Can I produce that or not? Yes.
Yes, in fact, I can.
But I'll save just in case. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir.
Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So given your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here.
You're wearing a black outfit too, so there. So you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying, yeah. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside the birdcage. Namely, this piece of glass.
Take that!
What's that? A piece of glass? Oh, it's unusually thick for glass.
Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket on the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower.
Holy smoke!
Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through the window of that special glass.
From whence this small piece originated? Is that it?
Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you.
Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say colour shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter.
Okay. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please. Nice. So I guess he already did? Oh, we can press on this, I guess. Hey, Origination. Welcome in.
Put up your dukes, old chap.
Yeah. You're just in time for the examination, summation, origination. Welcome in. How you doing? How's your Friday? Also, happy Friday, everybody. I haven't said happy Friday today. Any of y'all have some plans for the weekend? I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna stay home. I'm not doing nothing. I've been doing too much lately. Ruuvo's also sick right now, so gotta let them recover. I still haven't felt sick yet. I will let y'all know if I do. Already Saturday for me. Ooh, you started the weekend early. Oh yes, happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday. I'm taking my SO on a date tomorrow. So excited. Ooh. Are y'all like going to a restaurant or what's the plan? Anything special? I have nothing planned for Saturday or any other day. Just watching Twitch and YouTube. Sounds like a plan. Okay, the presence of the piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside the birdcage.
Hold it!
Thank you for reconsidering your position, sir.
Your words are misplaced, boy. My opinion is governed by logic and science and nothing else. Yes, science is where you should direct your words of gratitude.
Oh.
What's the matter with you? Too good to say some words of thanks to the mother of all academic subjects?
What is it about scientists? Honestly. Oh, yes!
Accusing someone without right evidences? He's not a proper job, is he? I won't have it!
Hold it!
I've got to ask, why have you brought that corn into court with you? Oh, thank God someone asked.
Colonel Cobb? He's been going back on the farm! Picked him off on me way into town! He's a proper nibbler, he is!
Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe you could wait until after the trial?
Ooh, I don't like the sound of that! Give you colonels at all times like these! Whenever I'm somewhat big to decide, the colonels always point me in the right direction, see?
You're talking about your cob of corn?
Nibble nobble, guilty bubble! Nibble not guilty out! Nibble nobble, guilty bubble! Nibble not guilty out! Nibble nobble, guilty bubble! Nibble not guilty out! Nibble nobble, guilty bubble! Nibble not guilty out!
Okay. Perhaps it's akin to fortune telling with flower petals like people do back home? So Professor Harebrain's fate is to be decided by a cob of corn. Could you not at least wait until we've had more time to find the truth before deciding on the defendant's guilt?
Ooh, I don't know about that. My tum's awfully full already.
Amazing. I know it seems a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in the birdcage, but on the other hand, it explains a lot. If there really is a reason why that particular waxwork had to be used as Mr. Esmond's double, we must do everything we can to make the jurors understand. The truth is, I'm sure that's the key to this, but it's the most puzzling part of it, too. In that case, you should see what additional information you can glean whilst trying to change the jurors' minds. If you can read a book whilst eating a rice cracker, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm sure you can do this. Right. Yes. I bought Thank Goodness You're Here, so I'll play that tomorrow before doing report writing. Good luck on your report. Let me see what that game is. Oh, this game. Oh, it just came out, didn't it? Oh, I forgot about this. An absurd comedy slapformer set in northern English town of Farnsworth. That looked so charming. I might have to get my hands on that or watch someone play it. Let me write that down. I forgot all about it. I hope you have a grand time with it. And good luck on writing that report. I hope that also goes well for you. I don't envy you, of course. But good luck. I remember my days of writing papers. This is fun. Okay. Let's see. So we've talked to everybody now. So now we need to pit people against each other. We've already changed one person's mind. I know the lady needs a connection between the waxwork and the current corner. Can't talk. Now he knows for sure now that the waxwork was in the birdcage. Does anyone else talk about that? It's also been a while since I've done this mechanic, so I'm kind of struggling to remember what to do. But I think basically you want to pit people who contradict each other against each other. Accusing someone without the right evidence. It's not a proper job. I won't have it. Maybe I could pit her against the guy that has evidence now? Let me try it. A bobby is just a British slang for police. Okay, let's pit you against you.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious! To whose statements do you prefer, counsel?
If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5.
Ooh, you mean me?
You've pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. But the accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you.
Ooh, is that right?
Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument?
I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest.
Of course you don't.
If I could interject here.
Please do, sir.
Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, It would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further.
There we go. Is she missing school to be here? I don't think she goes to school. I think she just eats corn.
Well, me too then.
Sorry?
If this brainy gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See, I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between the ears.
I kind of love her. She's so mean. Success, if you can call it that. Between the ears of corn. Yes.
Well, of course, if he's got some evidences, that's a whole other cup of corn, isn't it? Lovely job.
Possibility has been established reasonably and logically. It now warrants further research.
Okay, so we've got 2 people. Let's see. I don't trust police. Oh. Oh, sorry. The cop is first, not last. I don't know why it starts with him. It's throwing me off. Okay. So we have a real name, a legendary coroner, even then. Can we prove that the waxwork... Well, I don't think I can present evidence to anybody unless it prompts me. I think it's just, I just gotta pit them against each other. Well, I think we should pit him with somebody. Maybe against the cop. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Because he says he doesn't trust cops, and then that guy says she's a legendary coroner. Sure. Yeah, he says he doesn't like the police, so that would go against this guy.
Objection!
I don't know about this. Those 2 statements are fundamentally at odds with one another. No, they're not. Well, Mr. Foreman?
Ah, there's to be a new Sherlock Holmes adventure published next month by the looks.
Sherlock Holmes? Sherlock Holmes. Okay, I'm sorry. For a second, I thought he said the correct name instead of the Ace Attorney name, and I got so confused. Sherlock Holmes adventure published next month by the looks. My lord, the foreman of the jury isn't listening.
Is that so? Well, I shall have to reserve myself a copy at the local newsagent in that case.
Mr. Sato, no one's listening to what I'm saying. Perhaps this would be a good opportunity to have a rethink then, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, no.
Fear not, my learned friend. I heard every sorry word.
Sounds like I'm on the wrong track. I'd better think again. Oh, no. Okay. Well, you know what? I pressed him and then we got interrupted, so let me press him again. What sort of problems? Let's say we have a run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing. Obviously, artists cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. We perform our great magic in parks, street corners, the like. Police use any excuse to make our lives difficult. Ah. Sometimes they even cook up a story to extort monies from the poor. Well, that's definitely not right. Yes, and it is why I say that if you trust the police, you will have trouble. But here you are, claiming this waxwork model was stolen to star in an illusionary spectacular. The idea is so wild, I think I will take my chances and believe the authorities on this occasion. This is how the public at large view Scotland Yard, is it? Our own police force in Tokyo is not even 20 years old yet, is it? Perhaps we should view what's happened here in London as a measure of what may happen at home. Yes, like a Scotland Yardstick. I wonder how a policeman would feel listening to the way this juror speaks about the force. I'm sure he would have a word or two to say in response. See? I'm like... Why did that not work? I mean, he did react because, that's how we got him to talk about the coroner some more. But we don't pit them against each other? Weird. Unless I had to hear him out first. I'm gonna try to pit him against this guy.
Objection!
No. I'm just not on my A game today. I don't know. Keep not, like, picking it up immediately. Yeah, I don't know if it's that I had to talk to him first or not. Let me press him again, just so the game has that saved. I'll save. And then I'll try to pit them against each other again. I really feel like they have to go together. Let's see. Okay. What did he say? I ordered you to say. I think he already said what he's gonna say, though, but... Alright. Let's try it again, just in case.
Objection!
No. That's not it. No. No.
Damn it!
Okay, so what hasn't worked? I need to keep track of that. So don't pit the magician with the police. Don't pit... Have I done anyone else, actually? I don't think so. I don't think I've tried anything else. Okay. I want to hear what he said again, because that was a while ago. I kind of forgot what he said. We're only just starting to understand this case. What are you reading there? The man behind the murders on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. It was Dr. Scythe in charge of examining the body, and it was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel. That's right. That woman... Oh, wait. Oops. That woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this business is a load of old tosh. So he's just saying it's ridiculous to think that she could possibly have done something bad. We already know what to do for her. We just need to show a connection between the Waxworth and Scythe somehow. Which, I think we do have a connection, but I can't present anything. Yeah. Is there anything new to look at? I don't think so. It was Courtney Stevens when I knew her, a legendary coroner. And we already pressed him on the new dialogue. Yeah, that's the thing, we have to, like, contradict each other somehow. Oh, did I try the magician with the first guy? I might have. I think I did. I'll try it again just in case.
Objection!
Yeah, I think I did already try this. Okay. So don't do that. Don't do the magician with the first guy. Okay. My bad. I'm losing track already. Okay. Go back. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm struggling. Okay. I do not trust the police. So I've already paired him up with the two people that like the police. Does anybody say anything about her connection to the waxwork at all? I'm gonna try this.
Objection.
Yeah, okay. I think I know where this is gonna go. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel?
So, juror number 2.
Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you?
I presume you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before.
Well, naturally. As a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean.
Dr. Scythe's maiden name is Stevens, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. Where are you going with that? Stevens. She lives in a society. The defense has evidence to prove it. I mean, oh, okay, the evidence. Yeah, it's not in the names, it's in the evidence. Yeah, that would be the autopsy of the murderer. Yeah. Okay.
My goodness, evidence you say? How utterly enthralling.
Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim.
Of course, my lord. I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Scythe to the mass murderer known as the Professor. Yeah, there we go.
Take that!
Like, I knew that evidence mattered here, but I didn't know how to show it. I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago.
A 10-year-old autopsy report. What relevance does that have?
It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer, known as the Professor.
Professors. But the man was a capital offender, so...
That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens.
Oh my, Courtney Stevens.
Strike a light!
It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Scythe 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madam Tusspells. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Asman, at all.
And do you suppose there's some very unsavory relationship between these events?
Absolutely. I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Mr. Enoch Drebber.
Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is almost extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further.
That might be good enough.
Right. We can't let this trial come to an end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best coroner. It wasn't like this back in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end.
We got 2 more. I think I do have to get everybody.
A missing link, if you will.
Thank you, counsel. That will do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed.
Oh no, I think that's good enough. Okay.
2 jurors now call guilty, against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time. And the trial must continue.
We did it!
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory.
I did it!
On one hand, the atrocities, but on the other hand, I would love to be a Victorian noblewoman whose only daily occupation is reading romance novels. And shipping everyone you see. But we can do that now! We can do that now! But of course, yes, we must also do life and adult things like working and stuff. But I did it! I made progress in my video game!
A waxwork of the despicable professor, used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say, it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true.
Oh my god. Thank you, thank you. I would not last in a corset, oh god. Now that would be rough.
However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation.
It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link.
I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't.
The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony.
If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness.
Ooh.
The owner?
Madam Tusspells. I really thought that Lord Van Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry.
Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Tusspells to appear as a witness with immediate effect.
Listen carefully, my learned friend. Oh, yes? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box.
The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand.
Madame Tusspells, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord. Alright. Is that a to be continued, perhaps? It is! A little early to end stream, but it's a great stopping point, so we shall do that. This will be the end of the stream. Thank you for the lurk, Pearl. You won't be lurking for long. Stream is over! Alright. That's it for me tonight, y'all. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me on this Friday night. I appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Let me take some quick notes before I forget everything. I guess there's, let's see. We can say the connection between the waxwork, which I should remember this because I thought about it before it told me. The connection between the waxwork and Scythe is that Scythe did the autopsy for the murderer, and the waxwork is of the murderer. And next time, we will cross-examine Madame Tusspells. Okay, I think that's it. But yeah, good night, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Let me see if there's somewhere I can take y'all to. Otherwise, we'll just end the stream. Let's see. Either way, there's my social media. I'm most active on Twitter and YouTube. We have a Discord open to anyone if you'd like to join it. And there are the raid messages if you're hopping over with us. Hop, get it? Because she has rabbits. Anyway, thank y'all so much for being here. Thank y'all for hanging out, whether you were lurking or chatting with me, whether you subscribed or not. Thank you, Wolf, for modding. But yeah, I hope y'all have a great rest of your nights, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!